More than 10,000 energy jobs already gone, and more on the edge. Millions of your taxpayer dollars freed up to pay for other people's abortions, billions more going to other countries to meet their climate goals, while hundreds of thousands of our own small businesses go bankrupt here at home thanks to government shutdowns. Men dominating women's sports, tens of thousands of illegal aliens streaming across our border every month because they're open to anyone who can get across, but who can't support themselves once they're here. And all of it is happening on your dime. Welcome to Joe Biden's America. It's been 3 weeks, and no matter who you are, you can bet the worst is yet to come. He ran a campaign on unity and peace, but now he's rolling out an agenda that's about as far left as they come. And it's all happening on your dollar. President Joe Biden has already promised to curb U.S. oil and natural gas production and promote green energy for thousands of Keystone Pipeline workers. That has already cost them their job. The Wyoming Energy Authority predicts that by the end of Biden's first term, his executive order banning new leases on oil drilling will cost the United States $33.5 billion in GDP and more than $8 billion in state tax revenue, and that more than 58,000 jobs will be lost each year, costing workers over $15 billion in wages. But don't worry, Biden promises even more green jobs are coming, saying he wants to create 10 million climate-friendly jobs in clean energy for American workers.
So how about this? The Laborers International Union of North America said the Keystone decision will cost 1,000 existing union jobs and 10,000 projected construction jobs.
Well, what Mr. Trump also indicated in the same interview was that President Biden has proposed a climate plan with transformative investments in infrastructure and laid out a plan that will not only create millions of good union jobs, but also help tackle the climate crisis. And as the president has indicated when he gave his primetime address to talk about the American Rescue Plan, he talked about his plans to also put forward a jobs plan in the weeks or months following.
Now, let's say that happens. Let's say that all of our buildings can run on sunshine and unicorn kisses and ignore the fact that the only reason your electric car runs at all is because you plug it into a wall socket that draws electricity produced by stuff like coal. And let's say that the magical job fairy flies all over the United States and that these good green jobs start popping up from the ground like daisies and you can just pick one without having to uproot your entire family and move. Congratulations. If you're lucky, you'll get paid about half as much. Coal, oil, and gas workers can make upwards of $80,000 to $100,000 a year. On the other hand, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that the average solar installation job pays about $45,000 a year. Enjoy your rice and beans. President Biden promised to up the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025, and he's already moving that through Congress.
Our recovery plan also calls for an increase in the minimum wage at least $15 an hour.
Not only will this drive up the cost of goods and services, according to the Congressional Budget Office, this measure would cost the United States 1.4 million jobs. 1/3 of small business owners say hiking the minimum wage to $15 an hour will force them to lay off workers. Most of these will be in the service industry, where low-income employees will go from making not enough money to making none at all. Great trade. Biden's already re-entered the United States into the Paris Agreement, meaning that we taxpayers are now on the hook to fork over billions to other countries to help them curb their carbon emissions. Even though the vast majority of countries have failed to meet their promised climate goals since the treaty was signed in 2015, except the United States, we've continued to meet ours even without the agreement. But now you get to hand over your hard-earned money to countries like China and India for them to continue to fall short of their own promises and burn as much coal as they can get their hands on, all while Biden slaughters American energy jobs right here at home. Biden has already signed an EO mandating that public school students be able to use the bathroom and locker facilities and participate on sports teams that match their preferred gender, not the gender they actually are. Because if there's one thing a Democrat cares more about than a woman, it's a man who thinks he's one.
It's the height of hypocrisy for people who claim to be the champions of rights for women to deny the very biological existence of women.
Now your daughter not only has to compete against other women to earn her championship trophies, medals, and college scholarships, now she has to compete against men. Men who have a natural genetic advantage that she can't beat, but that she has to accept whenever Sam decides he's Sally and wants to run in the ladies' 400-meter dash. He's now welcome to steal your daughter's trophy on the field and then take a shower with her when he's done. And you don't get to say a word about it. President Biden promised to reunite families separated at the border and halt deportations of those coming to the United States illegally because their own country happens to suck eggs. More than 1,000 illegal aliens have already been released into the country since Biden's inauguration because our detention facilities are now overflowing thanks to the EO he signed scaling back border enforcement. Hundreds of migrants are being put up by American taxpayers in high-rise hotels in downtown San Diego to quarantine before they can go meet their families.
All along the southern border, more and more undocumented migrants are crossing into the U.S. seeking asylum, especially families, and some are being allowed to stay north of the border, being housed in hotels in cities like San Diego.
Those who cross in Texas aren't being quarantined at all, so much for stopping COVID. For ranchers down south, this means your land is now wide open to any illegal alien who can get across. For taxpayers, this means more of your money will go to support not the thousands of homeless veterans on our streets, not the American children in our failing inner city schools, but hundreds of thousands of low-skilled migrants and their kids who will flood your local school system and welfare programs. Biden's end to family separation will encourage sex traffickers and kidnappers to haul kids who aren't theirs across the border as a golden ticket into this country. And all of these lax policies will encourage a never-ending flood of people who will not stop streaming into this nation so long as this president is letting them in. It's already started. President Biden has promised to support women's rights and has signed a slew of executive orders to expand abortion access. This means you are now being forced at the point of a government gun to pay for other people's abortions. By re-upping the Mexico City policy, he has already freed up taxpayer money to fund abortion providers overseas. By making abortion clinics eligible for Title X funding, he's allowing millions in federal money to go to abortion providers like Planned Parenthood so they can continue to target Black and brown children for extermination. If Biden's plan to work with congressional Democrats to repeal the Hyde Amendment is successful, millions of taxpayer dollars will be freed up to directly pay for elective abortions. This is Biden's America. It's a pile of magic beans that grow nothing but devastating consequences and at your expense. If all of these left-wing policies actually lifted people out of poverty, created good-paying jobs, left us with a cleaner planet, and promoted equality, then places like Chicago and San Francisco wouldn't be the rotten dung heaps they've become, where crime and poverty have left communities in ruins, and where school children have to skip over dirty needles on the street. But this time, they're trying to do it on a national scale. And it doesn't matter if you are white, Black, Republican, Democrat, straight, gay, whether you're a Christian or whether you worship the flying spaghetti monster, your life, your family, your economy, your country is on the chopping block. This is Biden's America. An America in which the government runs your life for you and runs it straight into the ground. If you're not willing to bend over and take this in silence, go to MRCAction.org to sign up with us and learn how you can push back against the liberal agenda that's already destroyed so many lives. We'll keep you updated on the latest news and tell you how you can take action and fight back. It's not too late, but make no mistake, one day it will be. So join us now. And that's your Reality Check America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay sane out there.